Hey, today we're going to talk about the distributive property. It is a very important property when it comes to expressions and equations. It helps us simplify it quite a bit, and there are a lot of problems that we can't do without it. So before we start, I'm just going to show you kind of why it works. We're given this problem 3 times negative 2 plus 4. Well, order of operations tells us to do parentheses first, so we get 3 times negative 2 plus 4 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Now on the right, we're given what looks like a different problem, but it's really not. So let's go ahead and solve it. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, plus 3 times 4 is 12. Negative 6 plus 12 is 6. We got the same answer. What they did to get this was they took the 3 times the negative 2, then plus, because that says plus, and 3 times 4. So our problems today, we're going to be making a bunch of these little loop things to show us what to do. So notice that we got the same answer for both problems. These are called equivalent expressions. So we should know that equivalent means equal. So we got the same answer. They were equivalent. The second example used what we are calling the distributive property. So the distributive property, it gets its name because the word distribute means to like pass something through, or like people will distribute things on trucks, they take it somewhere. So you are taking this 3 to the numbers inside of the parentheses. So that's what we will be doing. Sometimes it gets a little tricky when we have some negatives, but not too bad. So our instructions are to use the distributive property to write each expression as an equivalent algebraic expression and simplify. So using the distributive property, we are always simplifying the problem. We can't do what we did in the first part of the problem where we just solved parentheses because x plus 4, we can't do that. So we have to do 2 times x is 2x, have a plus sign, so plus, then 2 times 4. When I simplify this, I get 2x plus 2 times 4 is 8. And I know I cannot put 2x plus 8 together and get 10x because they're not like terms. So this is going to be our answer. Pretty much when you have the distributive property, you will always have two terms. So we have a 2x as a term, 8 as a term. Part B, same thing. We have 4 times x is 4x. Got a minus sign, so minus. Then 4 times 2. Simplify it. 4x is just 4x. Minus 4 times 2 is 8. Again, I can't do 4x minus 8 because they are different terms. Part C, my number is on the other side, but that's okay. I'm still going to distribute the number on the outside. So 6 times y is 6y. Bring down your plus sign, and then 6 times 3. So you get 6y plus 18. Some people may have asked, well, can I do 6 times 3 over on the left and then 6y on the right and get 18 plus 6y? That's fine, but typically we write it with the variable first. So this is what I like to see. Part D, we're getting into some negatives. We have negative 2 times n is negative 2n. I got a minus sign, so minus. Then negative 2 times 3. So negative 2 times 3. So we get negative 2n minus negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6. But I know to keep change, so it becomes negative 2n plus 6. Another way to think about the negatives is you can think of this as a negative 3 rather than a minus 3. Negative and minus are the exact same thing. So you could think of it as negative 2 times negative 3 to get your positive 6. So if that way is easier to you, then do it that way so you don't have as many negatives down here. So again, a negative and a minus are the exact same thing. Part E, I got the 4 on the right again, that's okay. We have 4 times D, 4D. Bring down your minus, 4 times 3. So we get 4D minus 12. And again, you could have thought of it as 4 times a negative 3 to get your minus 12, your negative 12. Part F, 5 times negative 2. Then plus, and then a negative 5 times x. Negative 5 times negative 2 is 10. plus negative 5 times x is a negative 5x. You could write it this way, but it looks better if you put your x first, but it's a negative 5x, so put negative 5x and a positive 10, so plus 10. This answer is better. I will take this, but I'd rather see this. Just make sure that whatever sign is in front of your answer goes in front of your answer over here. So negative 5x plus a positive 10. Part G, got 3 times 8x, then minus 3 times 4. 3 times 8x is 24x, minus 3 times 4 is 12, and that is all I can do. Part G, negative 1 times 5, then minus negative 1 times x. Negative 1 times 5 is a negative 5. Then minus negative 1 times x is a negative x. Again, I can keep change. So I get negative 5 plus x. And again, this is okay, but it's better if you write it as x minus 5. So again, I had a positive x, so positive x, and then a negative 5, so minus 5. You also could have done just negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Negative 1 times a negative x is a positive x. So that's also how you could do it. So remember, negative, subtraction, same thing. Okay, on to the back. We are going to use the distributive property to simplify the problem, and then we are going to solve it in part B when they tell us what x can be. So we have negative 4 times 2x, and then negative 4 times a positive 3 is a minus 12. So we get negative 8x minus 12 as my simplified expression. Then I'm going to solve it. Negative 8 times negative 5 minus 12. Negative 8 times negative 5 is positive 40. Minus 12 is 28. And you could check your answer by saying, okay, well, if x is negative 5, then I can just use this formula. Negative 4 times 2 times negative 5 plus 3. That's negative 4 times negative 10 plus 3, which is negative 4 times negative 7, which is positive 28. So we got the same answer. We did a good job. Example 2, doing the same thing. So simplify the expression first. We got 6 times m is 6m, minus 6 times 4 is 24. And then I'm going to plug in m equals 2, so 6 times 2 minus 24. 6 times 2 is 12, minus 24 is negative 12. So let's check our answer. So use the original equation. We have 2 minus 4 times 6. 2 minus 4 is negative 2 times 6. We got negative 12. So we're good. So some key things. Remember, subtraction and negatives, exact same thing. And we absolutely have to use the distributive property whenever we have a variable inside the parentheses. Oops. And then some number directly on the outside. So remember, whenever the number is right by something, it means multiply. So whenever we see something like this with a variable on the inside, number on the outside, that means use the distributive property. So if you need to rewatch it, go ahead, but hopefully you got a good idea of how to simplify using the distributive property.